Alright, coast is clear. I can speak presumably without interruption. Is this an open classroom? Maybe I can use a different setting. Let's check it out. We got a lab sync here. Alright. Well. I'm getting the impression that the image I'm getting on my camera is brighter than the image I'm getting with my eyes. Usually I find it the other way around. The eyes are typically better at detecting light than cameras are. I don't know what's so special about the dynamics of the light in this room that's reversing that. It's kind of strange. In any case, what I wish to talk about now is the second heresy in Howard's book, which is 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. And the example that he gave was different quark combinations. So three quarks coming together to become not just a collection of quarks, but a proton or a neutron. So, get a drink of water. Something that I've thought of is a different metaphor, because I was getting the impression, and now look, I have a I guess, I mean, I've just started the book, so I'm sure Howard is going to get into more of the workings of these heresies later on in his book. But I have the last video I kind of explained A is equal to A and A is not equal to A in a way that avoids kind of like looking at this apparent paradox in a kind of wondrous way. You know, a kind of look that may make certain people throw up their hands and say the what's the word? The implications of this this kind of opposites are joined at the hip kind of statement, as Howard would put it, is a demonstration of just complete inanity in how our universe works. And in my last video, I kind of just wanted to kind of, I guess, pierce, thread some reason through it so that we aren't so perplexed at the apparent absurdity, because it is apparent absurdity. It's not, I don't think, real absurdity. I remember having thought before, made the statement before that a paradox is really just a truth that you do not understand, because well, whatever. Okay, so the way I would like to thread some reason into 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2 is to say that, well, the first thing that came into my mind was, let's use some mathematics in this. Okay. Of course, the idea of 1, the amount of 1 plus 1 of the same, I guess, unit or whatever, imaginary unit, is if you, I guess, consider them separately as ideas rather than physically. And I will kind of elaborate on this difference later. You do have 2. Let's say I have a swatch of red paint and and another swatch of let's say a swatch of red paint. Okay, but I have two swatches of red paint. Now I could combine these, and they're no longer two swatches of red paint. They're something else. This is a very simple example because not like the kind of topsy-turvy combination of quarks example, this simply gives, it's still the amount of, it's still same, approximately the same volume of paint, except now in kind of a group. Now back to, I was saying that I was going to talk about this mathematically. We do have very, very many instances where we talk about different kinds of units or different kinds of groupings, like 1 plus 1 equals, let's say, A or something. A is equal to 1 plus 1. A is equal to 2. Or maybe 1A, like A plus A is equal to 2A. But what if 2A is equal to B? And so A plus A is equal to B. And so now we have this completely different incarnation of these amounts. Kind of similar to what Howard was talking about when he was talking about the quarks being combined and turning into one proton or one neutron. But I know that example alone only gives kind of superficial justice to the point of 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. Because these are just artificial groupings of numbers. Like saying, I don't know, two pencils equals a group, equals a pair of pencils. And you're just kind of counting things differently. Things aren't really just turning into, 2 is not turning into 1. So to give some more justice, I have two other examples. Let's go back to the paint. There was a kind of a absurdist tone in my reading of Howard's second heresy. That I guess from the point of view of because Howard has goes back to a metaphor of, or I guess at this point it's an allegory. Continues to go back to an allegory of two people sitting at a coffee table at the beginning or before the beginning of the universe, and one guy is a very creative fellow, and another guy only thinks in literal terms of the present, of the things that he's currently aware of. Now, from this kind of more rational person, as opposed to the creative person, he sees these three quarks coming, and says, okay, well, put them together. I'm just gonna have three quarks. Okay. Then when he puts them together, they fuse and give something completely different, a proton or a neutron. And he has absolutely no idea. As far as he's concerned, this is beyond reason. It's completely irrational. Now, what I want to say right now is that let's get to the bottom of this, because this outcome had to be predicted. It had to be predicted were this supremely rational person to be completely aware of the rules of the game before he had put these three quarks together. He would have known that they would have yielded a proton or a neutron, because the next time they put the exact same quarks together, it would have given the same result. And so there's a common set of rules at play that are there's a kind of basic there are these basic properties of the universe, of these quarks that lead them to incarnating themselves differently. Because let's remember that a quark is not just a quark. A quark is just it's another label. It's another frog. It's another A. It's an artificial way for us to recognize a certain pattern, a certain kind of set of attributes that make things easier if we were to just group all the things with those kind of attributes under the same label. So okay, well, this amalgamation of, if that's the word, I'm not very sure if that's a proper word for me to use. If this amalgamation of time, space, and energy is such and such a way, it's convenient for us to call this instance of the universe a quark of a certain variety, and so this quark, this instance has a quarkiness to it, and so we're going to say that it's a quark, that there is a quark there. However, this quark this quark is not the basic property of everything, because this quark is an instance of other things, of, like I said, time, space, and the energy that kind of took form in order to compose it. And so, of course, when someone is not completely aware of the kind of basic properties, or at least the kind of fundamental things that went into forming that quark, or that kind of dominate that quark's existence, that determine that quark's existence, they will not be able to predict anything beyond just that idea of quark. They won't know what makes quarkiness, what makes the time, space, and energy into a quark. They just know that there's a thing there, and people call it a quark, so I'm going to call it a quark. In the same way that a person who has never seen before, let's say they just had an operation, their whole life they were blind, and now they got an operation, now they can see for the first time. Now they're playing with paint, and they see blue paint and they see red paint. And so, okay, well look, these two colors are different. And outside of any, I guess, evolutionary instinct that we might have, that might kind of like think of what a cross between blue and red would be, aside from that kind of hypothetical, the reason that they have is that, if they mix red paint and blue paint, they're just going to get a mixture of red and blue paint. But that's not the case. When they mix the two together, they see a completely new color that they have never seen before. And now maybe it seems like something miraculous to them that they're putting two different colors together, and they're getting like now something that has completely different properties. Now, maybe if they do a bit of more experimentation or look at the science behind it, they'll or maybe use their intuition a bit, they'll be able to see that, they'll be able to recognize that, this color is kind of like in the middle between those things, or whatever. Okay, and another thing is that saying that 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2 is also kind of like saying that one house plus another house is not equal to 2 houses. And now, a way that this is true is that what if you completely dismantled your 2 houses? What if you took their I guess relatively foundational elements of composition, like let's reduce this to instead of corks, let's reduce this to bricks and rock and cement and wood and so on. You can, let's say, dismantle these 2 houses and build, let's build a maybe a miniature castle. Maybe let's build a wall using all that stuff, or perhaps a tower, perhaps an office building. So now these things can combine in different ways to make completely different things, things that serve different purposes, things of different shape, and the thing is that this is not a completely random phenomenon. This is a result of the basics that go beyond the superficial identity of buildingness, of houseness, of corkness. Because these corks are reducible to something else. They're reducible to, demonstrably. Presumably, it can be, it's, because of our knowledge of history, that, at some point there weren't any corks. So these corks were in a different form when they didn't exist, when there were no corks. The corkiness was not there, but whatever constituted them, the potential or the nothingness or whatever, was there, and that was somehow capable of reforming itself and producing instances in time, space, and in the universe, whatever, that had qualities of corkiness. In the same way that these houses can be reduced to more basic things, which can be arranged to walliness or housiness or towerness or castleness or whatever. And so I guess what I'm saying is that if we become aware, and I'm not sure if this will ever be completely possible, but hypothetically, it would be possible. Is that if we know what these basic rules are, we can predict really how these ones are adding together. I don't know if I'm probably not being as coherent as I could, as I would like to. But I think I've kind of like put forward a point as to forgiving 1 + 1 for not being equal to 2 from the perspective that Howard was putting it forth. It's not, I don't think, something that's completely miraculous or even counterintuitive when you kind of lay it down in, I guess, using the different metaphors that I have. So when you reduce these seemingly nonsensical transformations to, I guess, their basic components, there's a certain way that energy is going to behave itself, that time and space is going to behave itself when you put these components of an up quark, down quark, and up quark, in the same spot, and allow them to mesh together, to behave in a different way together, and that is going to be a result of certain rules and certain foundations at play. In the same way that we don't need to be so surprised if we know how two houses can turn into a wall if their components are put together under certain circumstances. So I guess another note I would like to say before I forget is I guess a note that I guess Howard started the book on, and that he's mentioning going from the second to his third heresy. Thirsty again. Is the idea of creativity. I mean, how can creativity be something that a universe without personality can have? What is the commonality between the one person sitting at the coffee table, this coffee table that Howard is making and talking about in his allegory, his allegorizing, if that's a word. What do the universe this universe that Howard is describing and this person that Howard is describing? What do they have in common? What is the creativity that these two things share, this person and this universe? And I guess we can think about what creativity is, I guess, as a quality from a personal point of view, how a person can be creative. And being creative, I think, is, looking past the superficial, seeing the possibilities that aren't apparent right away, that aren't obvious, seeing potential, I guess, would be the right phrase, to have at least enough understanding in terms of breaking things down, seeing enough fundamental things, or at least, seeing things on a more intricate level in order to reorder these facts or truths or ideas into a way that they can express not necessarily a new idea, but a different idea that was not thought of as being connected to what you started out with in the first place. So I guess it is this acknowledgement. I guess creativity is more a utilization of complexity, of more foundational complexity. In the sense that it's to utilize the way things, I guess, are reduced or are put together. A creative person doesn't see a Lego block for a Lego block. They don't see perhaps or even a house made of Legos as a house made of Legos. They look at it in terms of the Lego blocks, what it can be reduced to, and what those reductions can be reformed to, how they can be reformed into something else. But it is also someone who doesn't see just the Lego blocks as Lego blocks, but also sees it as the houses that he can build with those Lego blocks, the walls that he can build with those Lego blocks, all the different things that he can do, that he can combine these Lego blocks to create. And the more ways that he can think of reducing and reforming and building up and breaking down these Lego houses and Legos, I guess the more creative he is. And so maybe in that sense, what Howard is going to get to with his description of this creative universe is that the universe is as creative as it is capable of engineering a variety of consequences that the amount of variety being, I guess, determined with how the breadth of potential instances, ideas, and I guess workings that are possible with its foundational elements, its foundational rules, whatever those may be, time, space, energy, and how those things behave at a basic level in order to dictate the ways that it will behave in different instances in different ways when combined in different quantities at different spaces at different times, etc., etc. So the creativity of the universe is the creativity of I guess it would have to be a perceived creativity, because I guess it takes a certain scope of view in order to say whether or not a certain result of the rules of this universe to be unexpected or to not be obvious. From an objective point of view, of course, nothing rings true. Things are just the way they are, or they're not. I mean, if you want to consider nothing to be in a position of being the case, if there's no one to think about it. But yeah, that's just getting into that's opening another can of worms. But yeah, so creativity, I mean, I guess I'm evading the I guess root word of creativity, which is create. But I guess that enough nestled in the word, in the idea of creativity, as I said, for that to explain itself. Because to create is creation is it's never making something out of nothing. Because even if you had this hypothetical person that could, I don't know, create something out of a vacuum or whatever, there's still things that went into that creation. There's the ideas that the person had. There's whatever mysterious powers that he has that he's executing to bring forth this thing. So you can't. There is no creating something out of nothing. Creation is to take raw materials, take foundational elements, and to turn them into something that has different qualities to them. I guess it's all about a variety of quality, the diversity of qualities that can be ascertained. And of course that's dependent on our ability to observe qualities, to organize qualities, to group them, and to label them. This is a thing that we do. It's how we find out the relationships between different things. And of course those things themselves are groups of relationships. So perhaps it's just dividing the workings of the all, into denominations that are perhaps within a certain scale, that our intelligence, that our brains are capable of thinking of the all, because we can't think of it all at once unless it's in some vague generalized sense. And of course we're not aware of everything, so I guess I'll end it on that note. I ended up saying some things that may have been vague, but I think I've put forward, I've explained myself enough that you can leave being aware of the kind of things that I wish to say, the kind of ideas that I wish to put across. So that's the end of my part 2 of my commentary on Howard Bloom's God problem. I think I'm gonna upload these sooner rather than later, because like I keep saying in my videos that I've yet to upload, I have a long lineup. But these are more relevant, closer to the book's release than later. So I think I'll upload them sooner. Share them with Howard on Facebook, whether or not he'll watch them or listen to them while he's doing his laundry. This is a door, but it is not a door.